On today's video, I am talking about how connecting to my higher self literally changed my life and how you can do the same. Hey, welcome back to another video. My name is Cara Michelle and I'm here to help you live your truth. And this practice of connecting to your higher self, it's absolutely life-changing because so often, I know for myself, I know for my clients, I know for so many people that I talk to each day, we feel stuck by our past or we feel stuck by our current beliefs, what we believe is possible for ourselves, right? And this identity kind of keeps us in what I'm going to refer to as the small self, or the old self, right? That old version of ourselves. And it's based on all of our experiences, all of our mistakes, all of the things that we're maybe still judging ourselves for, we haven't forgiven or let go of. And so we show up from that space each day, and that can impact then our actions, the energy we show up with, and how confident we are in how we're showing up in the world, right? All these things play together. When you are able to let go of that small self, let go of the old self, and connect to your higher self, your future self, not only does this help with manifestation, as I talk about in so many videos, you can check them out under the manifestation highlight, or playlist, but it helps with manifestation by becoming that future version of yourself now, so that you're a magnetic match, you're in the same resonance of what you're calling in. But it also just truly liberates you from what's going on. And so when I look at all of my traumas and the grief of losing my brother, when I think about the pain and like the heaviness that I was living in for a long time, that encompassed me. And I can feel all of it right now. Like I can feel, I've got the goosebumps, I want to cry. I feel very heavy. It's just, it's like this dense weight, right? When I was fully in that place and I hadn't started my healing, I hadn't started connecting to my higher self yet, it was very consuming. And I felt like that was who I was. I felt very identified with my trauma, with the things that had happened to me. I literally remember, it's super easy to remember, but constantly feeling like the way other people saw me was just as like the girl who lost her brother, right? When I went back to university, because I flew home for like about a week for the funeral and to be with my parents, and then I went back to university because we were finishing volleyball, and my team didn't really have someone else in my position, so I felt like I needed to be there and wanted to finish off our last weekend, our last games. So I flew back, but I remember just feeling like, especially the reactions I got from people right away, because obviously they knew what had happened and everyone's uncomfortable around grief and doesn't know how to handle people. But it felt like I was wearing this big bright sign of like the girl who just lost her brother. And it felt like that was just who I was. And that became a huge part of my identity for a long time. And of course, it's still something I've experienced. It's still something I lived through. It still has pain because it's grief, but I don't feel identified to the point of like, this is who I am, which it felt like that for a long time originally. And then same with, for me, I had a lot of patterns with men taking advantage of me, really disrespecting me. And then I had the experience where I was raped, and that added to this, like, this is my identity. This is the girl who's very unworthy, who never receives love or kindness from the masculine. And that became what I'm gonna call the old self, right? It became who I thought I was and what I thought I would continue to attract or live in. So I'm inviting you, I didn't actually plan to talk about any of that stuff. So what I'm inviting you on this video is to look at, how do you currently identify, what are you currently attached to as who you think you are? What stories are you telling yourself, but also what energetically are you still like holding on to? Is it past mistakes and failures and you're still feeling guilty for doing things that you wish you hadn't done or things that you regret? Or are you still holding on to certain things that make you feel like you're not good enough? And so you're constantly in this cycle, in this loop, this pattern of doing things, feeling like you're not enough, you know, maybe self-sabotaging, pulling yourself back from what you're actually meant to do, never quite reaching where it is you want to go because you don't feel you're deserving of it, right? What is the thing that you're identifying with that's part of your small self or your old self? And this also can tie into inner child work. There's so many different layers that we connect to on this. But as I started connecting to my higher self, which at the point I mentioned before, like in the midst of a lot of my traumas, it was still a dream. It was kind of like this far off vision of desperately dreaming that someday I would feel free from those things and feeling like, you know, I would just love to not be the girl who's had these things happen, right? I'd love to feel lighter. I'd love to feel happy again. I'd love to be able to laugh. I'd love to be able to feel safe. All of this stuff that didn't feel like it was a part of my reality. And so as I started to learn more and heal more, so the healing is crucial. I'm not bypassing the healing. The healing was absolutely number one first. But then from there, being able to connect into and really imagine and play into the vision of what would it feel like to be my future self? What would it feel like to be connected to my higher self, right? This beautiful, vibrant, loving energy who is like able to transmute anything and rise above anything, who's like totally tapped in to her destiny. She trusts everything that's happening. She feels supported. She's not feeling like this victim anymore, right? My higher self never felt like a victim because my higher self could always see that these things were happening for me, for my growth, for my evolution. I wouldn't be coaching or helping other people around the world now had I not been through those experiences, because it was those experiences that started my journey and started my growth, started my healing, and unlocked me to where I am now. My higher self always knew that, right? My higher self was always aware of like, it's part of the process. And so even nowadays, when I'm still going through different levels and different layers of healing, connecting to my higher self changes everything. Because there's still a little bit of that small self, right? There's still a little bit of that ego. Unfortunately, the ego is always going to be there, and it does provide good. It just also provides some bad sometimes and some setbacks. But there's still moments where that comes in of like, why me? Or, you know, this, why isn't this working out the way I want it to? Or playing a bit of the victim and that small, disempowered, collapsed version of myself, right? And then I can connect into the higher self, and it's immediately like, it feels like I can take up space. It feels like I can breathe again. It feels like I'm supported. It feels like everything I'm going through is actually exactly what I'm supposed to be going through. So I don't need to stress. I don't need to beat myself up. I don't need to fight reality to get somewhere else. So, long story short, this video went all over the place. I have a 5-day challenge. It's called the Release to Thrive Challenge, and it's all about connecting to your higher self. It's very much about getting clear on the old self that you want to let go of. It's no longer serving you to stay stuck in those beliefs, to stay stuck in those actions and habits, and to stay stuck in that energy, right? The things you're ready to let go of, the version of you you're ready to let go of, to say goodbye to. This challenge is going to help you uncover and then do that, to release these things, and then to connect into your higher self, to connect into that future version of you, that fully expansive, that multi-dimensional version of you who is capable of anything, right? And then how to live from that space each day. Because I can tell you firsthand, when I live from my small self, I don't really accomplish very much. I don't feel very good. I'm not magnetic. I'm not showing up in the world in my best light because I'm showing up from the small self. I'm showing up from my traumas and my pains, the things that I haven't healed yet, right? Or the things that are still weighing down on me. So that's naturally affecting so many areas of my life. Whereas if I show up from the higher self, which is where that challenge, the 5-day challenge, it's linked down below, can help you identify and then tap into that consistently. When I show up from that version of me, that's when I start to manifest. That's when I start to call things in. That's when opportunities and beautiful new things show up for me, because I'm living and operating, eat, sleep, breathing, vibrating from a new version of me. I'm vibrating from the future version versus the past version. The past version is only going to continue to repeat more of those same patterns and cycles. The past can only repeat the past. But the future, that's where everything's unlimited. That's where everything's possible. That's where any reality exists for me right now, as long as I can connect to it and match it. So it's all about that process. It's all about that becoming that future version of you, tapping into that higher self. And it's really, really so powerful in helping you separate. I was just talking with a client about this last week, about certain traumas that we've been working through together, and how it still feels very strongly attached to her, of like, this is who I am, this is what I've experienced, this is what I'm experiencing now. It's very like structured or logical, of like attaching to this as the identity. Well, when we connect to our higher self, when we tap into that energy, we realize, actually, I can become this person right now. It literally takes a choice. It takes the choice of, am I willing and ready to let go of clinging so tightly to who I think I am, so that I can become who I'm meant to be. So I clung very tightly to the identity of the girl who lost her brother, the girl who was raped, the girl who had this horrible car accident, the girl who was highly anxious, the girl who was incredibly insecure, the girl whose voice didn't matter. I clung, I identified with all of these things. And you know what? As long as I was identifying with them, I was not showing up in the world doing the things that I wanted to do. I was not feeling good about myself each day. My mental health was crazy. It was really bad. Everything was out of alignment. Everything was heavy. And I didn't feel capable of doing anything or turning it around. It was my higher self that always pulled me forward with that dream of, oh, but if you just come over here, sweet child, if you can just let this go, if you can just choose to let this go, you come over here, you're with me. And it's freedom, it's expansion, it's opportunity, it's peace of mind, it's liberation, it's magic, right? Everything's possible when you're connected to your higher self. So highly recommend checking out the 5-day challenge to support you in doing that as well. Yeah, that's it. That's it, I'll just end it there. So check out the challenge if you found this video helpful. As always, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on the notifications. I'll see you on the next video. And yeah, I think what I was gonna say is just realizing you have the power to choose. In any moment, you have the power to choose who it is you're gonna be, what story you're attaching to, what identity you're holding for yourself. So let that higher self, let that beautiful, fully healed, limitless version of you call you forward. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as making that choice to let it go and to say, I'm not going to keep attaching to these thoughts. When they come in or when that feeling's there, I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to choose to see myself as a future version. I'm going to choose to see the empowerment versus the opposite, okay? So hope that was helpful. Sending so much love to you on your journey. Yeah, we'll talk soon.